Okay, I'm here at a property in Southern California. We need to do some brush remediation, clear some defensible space. So if you look around, there's a lot of vacant land. And the issue is when a big forest fire starts, it's gonna rip through this area. So you need to start creating fire breaks as you get close to your house. Within 100 feet of the house, you have a right to clear. So even if it's not your property, there is a process by which you can get the adjacent landowner to clear their land. How it typically works in a rural area out here is you call the landowner up, send them a letter, and just say, hey, I'd like to get my defensible space cleared 100 feet from my house. That encroaches onto your lot. Could I get your permission to do the clearing? I mean, typically they're going to say yes. They may say no, and at that point you're going to have to probably go through your fire marshal, get him out here, get him to look at the property. He would be able to issue an order to that adjacent landowner to clear at their own expense. So I would say most people should be pretty reasonable to allow you to clear their property, as long as you let them know what's going on. The one time I have seen people run into trouble is land that's adjacent to Indian reservations. Even if you are a tribe member, sometimes they will not cooperate, allowing you to clear off of your lot, and then they're not bound by the same regulations since it's tribal land. But let me just walk you back through the brush. There's really 3 different zones here. So I would say from about my hand over, this zone was cleared last year. So this is a yearly exercise. You can see we do have some defensible space, but after a real wet season, a lot of the vegetation has grown back. And if you watch some of my videos, when I say, as aggressive as it looks, it does not bother the vegetation out here. This is why, this to most people would not look like it's been cleared aggressively, again, because it's grown back. So I say from my hand over, this is 1 year post clearing. Let me get back here a little bit. Okay. From my hand over, that's 1 year post clearing. From here over, this has been growing wild for 2 years. And you should see how rich this foliage is, how rich the vegetation is. So again, this is at a point that it is a little too dangerous. We're going to need to come in here and clear some of this. And then let me kick you back just a little further. Okay. And then this is the point. And again, this would be real hard for an untrained eye, but from here to here is your 2 years post clearing. From here back, this property has never been cleared. We'll just take a quick walk back there. Okay, there's some clearing that you can walk through, but otherwise this is it's a very, very thick area. You have a lot of sage. So these green plants, these are sage. These will dry out completely in the summer. And right behind the sage, you have laurel sumac. That's just height-wise, that's about 8 or 9 feet tall, and this essentially makes up your fire risk. You get a lot of these laurel sumacs that are 8 or 9 feet. You get a lot of this low-lying sage that'll dry out. A small fire starts, it gets in the sage, and it comes up into this 8 or 9 foot tall laurel sumac, and you get enough of that burning, you got your 20-30 foot plus wall of flame and wall of heat. So brush remediation is all about creating space in this vegetation. So we want to take an area that looks like this, and we want to turn that area that looks that thick you want to start turning it into an area that looks like this. So we still have our native vegetation. It's just been thinned out to about 50%. As you come up the hill to the house, you have even more than a 50% clearing. Okay, that's a wrap. Hopefully you see what goes into getting some of this thick brush cleared. That was all done with 105 trimmer line. It makes pretty quick work of most of the stuff out here. It's not until you get into the heavy sage or some of the large laurel sumac that you'll need to get more aggressive than trimmer line. But you can see there's a pretty clear delineation now between your native vegetation towards the left and towards the back, and where the beginning of our defensible space starts. So what's going to happen in a fire, this is all going to burn pretty much wild. You're going to get a lot of convective heat. So when the fire starts to hit this area, it's still going to burn through here. You're going to lose a lot of that convective heat that would be problematic. And once the fire hits here, it's going to smolder. A fire crew can get in here to do a dump of foam or any other type of suppression. They could even get back in here by hand with some grubbing tools to do like a hard fire break. So and that's all there is to it. Depending on your property size, it can be a lot of work to get your 100-foot perimeter. I go out close to 200, so I think that ends up being about 2 to 3 acres to clear, and it takes me about 30-40 hours a year of trimming. Less on dry years, a little more on this year that it's so wet. So thank you for watching.